Raider Nation, listen up. Training camp is underway. Expectations are through the roof, but behind the scenes, the front office isn't slowing down for a single second. New pieces coming in, stars shining brighter than ever, and a rebuild that promises to shake up the entire AFC West. But is this roster really ready for what's coming, or are we just sweeping our problems under the rug? Word is, the coaching staff is testing every single limit possible before week 1, and the more we break down every single move, the more doubt starts creeping into our heads. Is this the start of a golden era, or a blind shot in the dark that's going to cost us big time down the road? So go ahead and hit that like button and stay till the end, because this could change everything. And that's not even the most worrying part, because the way the front office is shifting the gears around here shows that nobody has a guaranteed spot, not even the guys who've been rocking the silver and black the longest. Let's talk depth, internal competition, and a group that needs to prove a whole lot more than just talent on paper. The Raiders got lucky dodging any major injuries right at the start of training camp, but the calm didn't last long in the coaches' minds. The front office decided that the tight end room, which plenty of analysts already called the strongest and deepest on the whole roster, needed even more muscle and competition. That's when the front office put their foot down and announced the arrival of veteran Zach Kuntz. Reports say the move caught some fans by surprise, mainly because the guy losing out in this game of musical chairs was running back Chris Collier, who ended up getting waived/injured to open up a spot on the roster. But why bring in Kuntz right now when the position looked untouchable? Kuntz recently spent time with the Miami Dolphins before getting cut back in May, and he brings that ridiculous 6'7" wingspan that's been turning heads ever since he was drafted in the 7th round by the Jets back in 2023. He spent 2 seasons in New York trying to carve out a role before dropping off the radar and missing the entire last NFL season. Meaning, there are legitimate questions about what the actual plan is for him. Are we looking at a bet on pure physical upside for blocking and the red zone, or is it just a cheap depth move to push everyone to their absolute limits? Truth is, Kuntz is going to have to bleed out there to earn a spot in a room that's already stacked with absolute monsters. And when you look at the guys already locked in at the top, Kuntz's situation gets even tougher because the star of the show is shining blindingly bright. We're talking about Brock Bowers, who's simply dominating training camp in a way that's giving every single Raiders defender nightmares. Bowers is coming off a season that a lot of people consider below his ceiling, mostly because of that nagging knee injury that limited his movement and took away a bit of his usual physical impact. But what we're seeing right now in Las Vegas is a completely transformed player, starving, with a motivation that spills over on every single route he runs and every catch he makes in traffic. And the most interesting part of all this is that even though analysts and fans widely point to him as the most dangerous and talented player on the entire Raiders offense, Bowers still keeps that cool, focused, and super humble vibe in front of the mics. When reporters asked him about his insane numbers in practice, he just kept it real, saying they're out there playing football, his teammates make big plays all the time, and he just tries to do his job when the ball comes his way. Is this a smart move by the coaching staff surrounding Bowers with more options, or are we overloading the offensive system with guys who still need to prove themselves? And that doubt spreads even wider when we look at the rest of the passing weapons, especially with young Trey Tucker opening up about the new identity of the offense under Clint Kubiak. The Raiders' offense last season was an absolute disaster, dead last in the entire league in efficiency, completely unable to run or pass consistently, which forced this drastic shakeup in the coaching staff and the locker room. In comes Clint Kubiak with his heavy playbook, new quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins and rookie Fernando Mendoza, but every loyal fan still has that same nagging question in the back of their mind: do we actually have enough real talent at wide receiver to scare division rivals? Trey Tucker is coming off his best career season, but he still hasn't fully convinced the market that he can step up as a legitimate number 1 receiver, the kind of guy who can draw double teams and open things up for everyone else. Even so, in Tucker's own words, this new offensive scheme is so multiple that you look out on the field and see guys spread all over the place, handling different roles on every single snap. Word from inside the CT is that Kubiak's whole point is exactly that, to kill predictability, to build a system where no single player does just one thing, forcing the whole group to master multiple parts of the playbook. But is all this complexity going to end up confusing our own heads even more than the opposing defense? If that actually happens, are we going to see a historic leap in quality or complete chaos right out of the gate in the regular season? But hold on, because what's coming next changes everything. While the coaching staff tries to fit the pieces of the puzzle together in the passing game, the foundation of this whole Raiders rebuild runs straight through the hands and feet of Ashton Jeanty, an absolute warrior who has to carry the weight of an entire franchise on his back. Jeanty's debut season was no walk in the park. Quite the opposite, it was hit with brutal walls, an offensive line that struggled heavily to protect the pocket and open up holes in the run game, and a general offensive dysfunction that made any kind of smooth progress tough. Despite all that chaotic, messy scenario, Jeanty still put up respectable numbers that caught the eye of the toughest analytics guys. He finished the year with an overall Pro Football Focus grade of 70.4, grinding out 266 carries for 975 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, while forcing an impressive 61 missed tackles from defenders trying to stop him one-on-one. In the passing game, he showed real value too, hauling in 55 catches on 68 targets, adding another 346 yards and 5 more scores through the air, clearing the magic mark of 1,000 total yards from scrimmage even while playing on a completely broken team. And exactly because of that hard-fought history, expectations for his sophomore year are through the roof, with radio analysts and insiders guaranteeing that Klint Kubiak's arrival is going to completely flip the script for the Raiders' run game. In a recent chat with Ari Meirov, Q Myers, the longtime voice of Raider Nation Radio, laid it all out about what we can expect from Jeanty this 2026 season, stating flat out that the new coach and the upgrades on the offensive line are going to take care of the heavy dirty work. Myers reminded everyone of the winning pedigree of the systems Kubiak's been part of, bringing up classic examples of how similar philosophies won titles by leaning on a dominant, efficient rushing attack. The big question left in the mind of every loyal fan is this promise of a revamped ground game finally going to give Jeanty the room he deserves? Or are we going to keep watching our lead back smash into a human wall every single time he touches the ball? The way Jeanty handled adversity as a rookie deserves a standing ovation, but it also raises serious questions about the internal culture the front office is trying to set up. Myers made sure to point out that even in the toughest moments, when blocking broke down and every yard felt like a bloody war, Jeanty never dropped his head, never bitched around the locker room, and never pointed fingers to blame his linemen for bad play. Quite the opposite, his attitude was always pure personal accountability, constantly repeating that he needed to step up, work harder, and do whatever it takes to help the group win. That's the exact kind of unbreakable character John Spytek and the rest of the Raiders front office are desperately looking for in every guy walking through those CT doors. And Jeanty's physical and mental prep this offseason has raised the bar to a whole new level. Behind-the-scenes reports say he completely changed his eating habits, tightened up his diet to speed up muscle recovery, and showed up to training camp looking flat-out terrifying, moving even faster, sharper, and deadlier than last year. If Kubiak's system can actually squeeze every drop out of that raw talent, we're going to have an unstoppable weapon in the AFC West. But that little doubt is still lingering. Is Jeanty's body going to hold up under such a heavy workload, or are we betting all our chips on a single guy without having a solid plan B waiting on the bench? And that brings us straight to the third big question mark of this preseason, focusing on the quarterback room and the massive expectations riding on the young talent that needs to break out this year. With experienced Kirk Cousins stepping in as the likely starter to steer the ship through this transition phase, the spotlight is also pointing right at the development of the young prospects on the roster. There's no clear-cut, undisputed number one receiver on the horizon, and the closest thing to it is tight end Brock Bowers, which puts a massive amount of pressure on the shoulders of the young wideouts drafted over the last few classes. Among them, the name generating the most heated debates among fans is Jack Bech, taken in the second round of the 2025 NFL Draft, but who was a total ghost during his rookie year, failing to carve out a real role in the offense. Bech's offseason transition drills haven't exactly blown anyone away either, sparking fair doubts among the fan base about whether he actually has what it takes to turn into an impact player in this league, or if he's just going to end up another wasted draft pick along the way. Still, it's not all darkness for the young wideout, because it looks like he finally caught the eye and respect of the top leader in the offensive room, Kirk Cousins himself. Word straight out of the locker room is that Cousins made sure to publicly praise Bech's playing style, pointing out his unusual hand strength and the flawless work ethic he shows in every single practice. For the veteran quarterback, what really makes Bech stand out among so many talented guys isn't just raw ball skills, but his rock-solid attitude of being a great teammate, a guy who wants to do everything the right way and takes coaching with serious focus. But the question hanging in the air is, do veteran training camp praise in August actually translate to real production when the lights turn on in September, or are we looking at another project who's going to take way longer than needed to deliver what the fans expect? And while Cousins holds down the fort in the present, the franchise's future rests on the shoulders of Fernando Mendoza, the #1 draft pick who's being handled with absolute care by the coaching staff so he doesn't rush his development. Mendoza knows full well he wasn't brought in to carry the piano right now, especially since his contract doesn't have crazy guaranteed money down the line, and the front office brought in Cousins precisely to shield the rookie from the heavy pressure of pro football. Even so, the rookie has been soaking up every second in the meeting rooms, trying to absorb as much knowledge as possible from the older guys and the coaching staff. In recent interviews, Mendoza made a point to praise the genius and analytical depth of Kirk Cousins, explaining how the veteran breaks down plays, groups complex tactical concepts, and translates Clint Kubiak's philosophy in a way that clears things up for all the rookies on offense. According to Mendoza, that informal mentorship has been a total game changer for his understanding of the game, letting him grasp not just what he needs to do on the field, but the strategic why behind every play drawn on the board. It's an admirable stance from a guy who knows his place right now, consciously stepping into a supporting role focused entirely on soaking up knowledge, backing the group, and getting ready behind the scenes for when his big break inevitably comes. But the fan base is split and restless over this cautious transition. Is all this patience with the rookie the smartest move to protect the future of the franchise, or are we wasting precious on-field development time with a guy who should be out there taking hits to get battle-tested? Now, I want to know from you, is this a solid path for the rebuild, or are we watching a silent problem grow right under our noses? Drop your comment down below, because the discussion in Raider Nation never stops. Peace out, and until next time, Nation.